Hi everyone, my name is Alex Martinez. I am a developer advocate at MuleSoft, and today we are going to learn how to implement async APIs locally with Kafka and Anypoint Code Builder. As you can see from here, I'm running in Docker both images for Kafka and Zookeeper, and right now I have one container for each running, so I can use Kafka locally. I also have this extension in my Visual Studio Code where I can take a look at my Kafka connections. Right now I have one broker running in localhost 9092. I don't have any topics and I don't have any consumers. Both of these are going to change as soon as I have my implementations going. Alright, so once I open my Anypoint Code Builder, first we're going to design an API. Let's name this Accounts Service. This is going to be of the type AsyncAPI, not REST API, and we're going to select AsyncAPI version 2.6 in a YAML version. So let's create this project. Once everything has been processed, I am just going to copy and paste some YAML file that I had already created. If you want to take a look at the specific design of this specification, you can take a look at some previous videos where we are designing the specifications. After my design is ready, I am going to open the governance rule sets, and I am going to add the AsyncAPI rule set just to make sure that I have the best practices going and that my specification looks good. All right, so if I run all of this here, I can see that I have no conformance issues. All of the rules are being applied, so I can just double check that everything here is correct. Now let's open the API console. If I click from it right here, I will be able to see the documentation, all of the information that I have in my design. And right here at the bottom, I will be able to see that we have the user sign up channel with the subscribe operation or method. So if I open that, I will be able to see that I am sending this body and this will be published into the queue. It's a little bit weird that we have a subscribe when we are really publishing into the queue. But again, if you want to see the details of all of these design operations, please go to one of our previous videos where we are designing the AsyncAPI specification. The other thing that you will notice is that the server is Kafka and is using the localhost 9092, which is the one that we had set up in our local Kafka, as you can see from here. We are setting that up here in the server's part, Kafka, URL, localhost 9092, protocol, Kafka. Now, based on this information, we need to have a queue or a topic called user signup. So let's go ahead and create it right now. User signup, number of partitions 1, and now we have this topic, user sign up. So now we will be able to make use of that to publish and subscribe from it. And once we have verified that this specification looks good, let's go ahead and save it. And we're going to publish it to Exchange. So go ahead, open your command palette and select MuleSoft Publish API Specification to Exchange. I am going to select my business group, which is Salesforce. And my project name is going to be Accounts Service. Artifact ID Account Service, version 1, and that is publishing. Once it has been published, it's going to ask me if I want to implement this API. I'm going to select yes. It's going to ask me for a project name. I'm going to select Accounts Service. And I'm going to select the Mule Runtime version 4.8 with the Java 17 version. Now, once the project has started, you will be able to see that you have a flows in the global configs XML inside your source main Mule, and you have a dev properties, and resources. So let's just double check that the global configurations are all what we expect them to have. So we have a Kafka producer configuration, and our server is in localhost 9092. We have the configuration properties with the environment dev, and the async API configuration that is this name. Remember this name because this is going to be the consumer eventually. All right, all of this looks good. But now if we open the flows, we will notice that there is nothing here to do. So we will have to build this flow. So we're going to build a flow. We're going to add an HTTP listener. We need to add the configuration for this. So let's keep it simple, 0000. You can also add this as properties if you want. For now, I'm just gonna leave it as the regular stuff. And the path is gonna be publish. Now, once that's done, we can close this. And now let's go ahead and add another connector. Make sure you add the API kit for AsyncAPI module. So the publish connector from that specific module, not from any other module. Now, if you open this connector, you will be able to select the AsyncAPI configuration from the global configurations. And after it loads, if you scroll down, let's leave this as content payload. Channel name, let's select the user signup, which is the one that we created in our specification. Then the server name is going to be Kafka, again, the one that we created from our specification. And that's all that we need for this specific flow. We can save these two files and we're gonna leave this project open because we're gonna need it later. So just go ahead and open a new VS Code window. And in this new window, we are going to design another API. This time it's going to be the email service. API type is gonna be AsyncAPI and the same version as before. Once it loads, I already have my design that I want for this specification. This is the email service. And now I'm gonna check my governance, same as before, just to make sure that I am compliant. Let's run this. And everything looks good. So I am compliant with this specification. Now let me open the API console. And for this, we have, once again, the Kafka localhost 9092. But now in our API channels, we still have the user signup channel. But now we're going to be doing a publish operation as opposed to a subscribe. So again, it's kind of backwards in this mindset. So because we have a publish operation, it means that we are actually going to be subscribing to this queue. So the accounts service is going to publish some information into the topic, and then the email service is going to be subscribed and it's going to receive that information and process it. That is how this is going to be working. As you can see from here, this is the same payload that we are publishing and the same payload that we are subscribing to or that we will receive. The channel is the same as before, user sign up. We can just double check that that is the channel that we have if we go here to topics and we can see user sign up correctly. We still don't have any consumer groups, but that's gonna change once we deploy these two applications locally. And because everything looks good, let's go ahead and publish the specification to Exchange. And let's just set all of the defaults. Would you like to implement the email service? Yes. Let's name it email service. Once again, Mule for 8 and Java 17. And same as before, we can just double check the global configurations. So we have the consumer configuration. The server is in localhost 9092. The topic pattern is user sign up. We have our properties and we have the consumer config ref. But now if we open our flows, we actually have some code here. The API kit was smart enough to know that because we have a publish operation in our specification, that means that we are going to be listening to that. So if we open this message listener, we will be able to see that the configuration in the connection is AsyncAPI config, same as before. The channel name is user signup and the server is Kafka, same as before. If we were trying to implement this API like for real, then we would have to add here an email connector and send the email into whatever information we receive in the payload. But for now, we're just gonna keep a logger. This logger is gonna post the payload that we receive into the and that's how we are going to double check that this is indeed working. Now we need to run both projects at the same time locally, so we can double check that everything is working seamlessly. But there is just one problem to that, is that Anypoint Code Builder doesn't support that yet. So we have a workaround. In one of the projects, it can be whichever you want, go ahead and open the project properties. And we're going to change the runtime from 4.8 to 4.7. This is gonna let us run both projects at the same time. Now let's first run the account service. We can see that the account service has been deployed, so let's go ahead and run the email service now. Now the email service has been deployed, and as you can see from my extension, I am able to see that now I have a consumer group for Apache Kafka, which has the name that we previously saw in the global configurations. All right, so now if we send to localhost 8081/publish, which is the HTTP listener that we set up in the accounts service, let's send this body, and right now we're in the email service, we will be able to see it in the console. So let's go ahead and send it. And we successfully received this from the email service. So if we try again, we will continue to see it being logged here in the email service, which means this integration is working correctly. Congratulations on setting up your first AsyncAPI integration using Kafka locally. Keep posted for more Anypoint Code Builder and AsyncAPI videos, because we still have some other brokers to take a look at. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye!